Welcome to a town full of mystery, unimaginable horror, and with your local handyman, Sos. I hope that's good in the audio. Originally, I was gonna do a retrospective of Gravity Falls to celebrate the 10-year anniversary. I changed my mind after not being satisfied with my final product because talking about 40 episodes of Gravity Falls was bigger than I thought and I just got so burnt out. I still wanted to do a Gravity Falls video because this show has created a huge effect for television and animation, along for setting up the future for Disney Channel. Today's video is about me looking back on Gravity Falls for its 10 years of mystery, horror, nightmares of a summer that two kids would never forget. The show was created by Alex Hirsch, who has worked on projects such as The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack and Fish Hooks. He pitched the show to Disney based on his own childhood experience of going on summer vacations with his twin sister. Grunkle Stan, the show is based on his own grandpa, who, like Stan, tell fable stories and messes around with Alex and his sister Ariel. You add that with a mix of mystery and supernatural phenomenon, and you got yourself a one-of-a-kind show that would change animation for the better. Dipper is the awkward nerd type. He's super cautious, yet adventurous to uncover the bizarre things that lurk around Gravity Falls. Mabel is the fun, adorable type. She loves everything colorful and glittery and is super keen to do whatever her heart desires. Stan is a con man who loves money and steals anything he could get his hands on. His employees for the Mystery Shack are Seuss and Wendy. Seuss is your friendly handyman that fixes everything in the shack, most of the time. Wendy works as a cashier. She's the cool tomboy that's pretty laid back, and Dipper has a massive crush on her. Other characters in the show are either friends, enemies, or one-off characters that are Tad Strange. Funny enough, one of my favorite one-off characters happens to be a man named Tad Strange.
Hi guys, Tad's the name, and being normal's my game.
Loving you, Tad!
And I love bread.
Here's the gist of Gravity Falls. Dipper and Mabel are spending their summer with their great uncle Stan in Gravity Falls, Oregon. Mabel is more optimistic about her summer, while Dipper isn't easing up to his new surroundings. It wasn't until he stumbled across the mystery journal with a golden hand and number 3 on it. He suspects that the author of the journal had seen something in Gravity Falls that no one noticed, warns those to trust no one, and beware the strange creatures living amongst the falls. Throughout the show, Dipper and Mabel will run into these phenomenons in the journal and see what makes Gravity Falls the town that it is. It can range from talking gnomes, a kid with telekinesis, ghosts, buff manitors, zombies, tiny golf people, and the list goes on. Things would eventually change for the better when Stan gets involved with the journals. Yeah, journals! It would shake things up for season 2 when the government gets involved, and more clues and mysteries would lead to the reveal of the author of the journals. Not to mention, Dipper and Mabel have to face off with the Yellow Triangle, who is the most evil and diabolical thing to ever exist. What makes us keep talking about Gravity Falls is the show's lore. The first episode already sets up the premise of what's gonna happen. For a boring, sleepy town, there's sure a lot of things that are unexplained to the citizens. It wasn't until these two came for the summer and decided to explore it. The world building is massive to embark on, with every creature being shown and spooky discoveries that lead to characters getting into tough situations. I cannot tell you how watching the show while it broadcast, I have screamed, cried, raged, and smiled because of the show's writing. For the characters to learn more and more about Gravity Falls and themselves. The humor that is hilarious with its fair share of dark humor.
Sometimes I think, is this all there is? Is life just some kind of horrific joke without a punchline? That we're all just biding our time until the sweet, sweet release of death?
And how Bill is one of the best Disney villains because of his pure chaotic behavior. The show always kept you on edge, and that thing that you thought was scary and intense, that was just the beginning. As we get further into the show, we get answers to questions that we thought we wanted, but turns out there's some heartbreaking conclusions to them, along with serious conversations of what's at stake for Gravity Falls, because Bill's plans are bigger than just the town, and won't hesitate to get his hands dirty if anybody tries to stop him.
Not so fast! You two wait here! I've got some children I need to make into corpses!
I also applaud the show for having heart and not so many cheesy moments. Dipper has tried everything and anything to get closer to Wendy in the hopes of being her boyfriend. And did it work for him? No! After exposing her ex for being a liar and also his claims that he wrote that song for her when it was just a lie, Dipper only did it to save Wendy, but also for another chance to be closer to her. And she was rightfully upset at Dipper. She got her heart broken. I think the last thing Wendy needs to be is with anybody but herself. So I'm glad they didn't give Dipper that win. Later on, he would admit his crush to Wendy, and the two remained good friends, and there was no awkwardness between them. Well, sort of. Like, I'm glad they didn't make no stupid promise, because every animated show does that, because, you know, love is everything. But I wish the writers let Dipper move on from his crush and continue to be a kid again, focusing on the stakes of Gravity Falls, or obsessing over the author.
The journals!
Sir,
sorry, just got excited there about the journals.
Another moment like this is with Seuss. Dipper and Mabel learned that Seuss hates his birthday after his father kept breaking promises to see him every year. They entered into a time Olympic game to win a time wish for Seuss. Instead of seeing his father, he used the time wish to clean up Dipper and Mabel because their efforts were more meaningful than those lousy postcards he got from his father. He also helped others in need and was able to live his dream of becoming Mr. Mystery because Stan made that much of an impact on him. Same goes for the villains who turn a new leaf. They made a decision to change for the better and it worked. Despite the scary and weirdness of Gravity Falls, it is also a show that takes the time to honor, care, and cherish the characters throughout their journey. We already know that Dipper and Mabel stick it out together, even with their bickering and typical sibling arguing. The two can get over their heads when they get super focused on their goals, and when one of them's in trouble, the other one is always there to bring them up and help them out. Same goes for Stan. Under his persona of Mr. Mystery and scammer personality, he would do anything to make sure that Dipper and Mabel were okay. Even when the author returned, it was a long road for Stan and Ford to pick up the pieces that were shattered all those years ago. And it turned out for the better. There were situations that would have been the end for our characters, but they managed to beat the odds and prove that nobody is gonna stop them. I can't believe Gravity Falls was able to be funny, scary, and damn right entertaining because the cast and crew put so much thought and care into this fictional world and the characters living in it. I like to say that Gravity Falls is Disney Channel's lightning in a bottle, even if it costs a bit of Alex's sanity because his disagreements with the SMP censoring the show was beyond me and absolutely ridiculous. If it wasn't for some 20-something-year-old who wanted to tell stories about two kids staying with their great uncle for the summer, I can't imagine Disney Channel having the shows that we got after it ended. A show with a serial narrative with the additions of its continuity, callbacks, and foreshadowing. How Blendon's part in the show would evolve after his first appearance in episode 9, the use of eeny, meeny, miny, you, the reason why Stan is the man he is, and all the cipher codes in the end credits. Big name people like Guillermo del Toro, R.L. Stine, and Jon Stewart were big fans of the show. Kyle MacLachlan was the bus driver in the last episode, and starred in Twin Peaks, which was one of the inspirations behind the show's supernatural phenomenon. Without Gravity Falls, we wouldn't have projects like The Owl House, Amphibia, Inside Job, and The Mitchells vs. the Machines, all because the people behind it were a huge part of the show's writing and animation for the show, and used their talents to create some of the best animated projects in current time. The animation is nice to look at and goes full force in its thrilling action moments, even changing up the styles of animation to keep the fun while dealing with the unfamiliar. The writing is great with its groundbreaking moments, whether it's the show's lore, humor, and how everything comes together like a puzzle piece. To see how the show has also made time to capture the growing that Dipper and Mabel went through as siblings, which is sweet and realistic. The characters are likable and provide fun chemistry thanks to the voice cast. Actors like Jason Ritter, Kristen Shaw, Linda Cardellini, and J.K. Simmons were absolutely brilliant in their performance. We had a great list of guest stars such as Alfred Molina, Jennifer Coolidge, and Stephen Root, and a handful of famed voice actors that we hear in most cartoons like Kevin Michael Richardson, Jessica DeSico, and John DiMaggio. The fact that Alex Hirsch is able to voice Grunkle Stan, Seuss, Old Man McGucket, Bill, and numerous characters just shows me how crazy of a madman he is, and I love it! There's no denying that Gravity Falls was a huge force for Disney Channel. Alex has proved that people can love shows that are daring and pushes the limits on what a show can do for a certain demographic. Though I wish there was more that could have come out of it, I'm happy that there are many people who got to see it. It was, and still is, an amazing show. You have a bit of adventure, mystery, horror, along with friends and family who get you to be here and stay alive. The past 10 years have shown that Gravity Falls is a current classic. I truly admire Alex Hirsch for his contributions to the show, same for the influence that he struck in animation. I'm happy to have spent my time here again, and hope others can do it too, to see the mysterious, strange town known as Gravity Falls. Thank you for watching my video.
Remember, reality is an illusion, the universe is a hologram. Bye, gold, bye!
This is Olivia, signing off.